Hello, my name is Joey Hamilton. I'll be conducting my oral presentation of my paper on the death penalty. You reap what you sow. And that's always been my view on the death penalty. When I was given this project, it was kind of cut and dry, and my mindset has always been that. But in my research, I found that there are some very good arguments against or for doing away with the death penalty. I don't know. It didn't really change my viewpoint. I'll be the first to admit that in the past it was extremely prejudiced, and there were a lot of ill-minded people involved in making decisions whether someone was given the death penalty. A lot of prejudice, a lot of racial issues involved. But with all this, I still don't believe that it is something that we can do away with. Does it need improving upon? Yes. But a lot of things in life do also. I believe it is something that will work. And like I said, I think it's something that we can improve upon. As I've stated in my paper, my belief is capital punishment has its flaws, and we as a society should never cease to better the process. But imposing it when all other judicial avenues have been exhausted is a must. The arguments from my viewpoint on capital punishment are that we have a moral obligation as a society to uphold the death penalty. My next stance is that it is biblically just. I believe it is something that's handed down from God in order to try to uphold order on earth. My strongest viewpoint on the death penalty is that society has an obligation to protect good over evil. And if this is something that we get rid of, it's going to open the floodgates for, I guess, the wrongdoers of the world. Does it completely stop the bad from being bad? No. But if it stops one from murder or rape or something along that lines, then it's done its job. There are studies that show that our society is becoming soft. I would agree with this. I think that where we are now, we are more focused on being fair to everyone and being nice to everyone, even if they're a criminal or not. A lot of times in our judicial system or in our society, as stated here by Lewis Poyman, we always consider someone's past, and if it's troubled past, then they sometimes get a bye for crime that they commit. I don't feel that this is just at all. If you do something wrong, just because you had something bad happen in your past doesn't give you the right to put that upon someone else or to take a life or something like that. I just don't see that as being just. I think the opposite should be true. That no matter your past, if you commit the crime, then you should deal with punishment, whether it be capital punishment or a lesser type of punishment is life in prison or something like that. Whatever our judicial system sees fit, then that's what I think you should get. My next viewpoint on that is, or on capital punishment, is that it's biblically just. A lot of people see the Ten Commandments as something they hold dear, and a lot of people argue that capital punishment goes against those commandments. Thou shalt not kill. Original Hebrew text, as stated here, is thou shalt not commit murder. This was something that I see as God giving us the ability to try to uphold order in society. In those times, in a lot of things, not just murder, not just rape, but a lot of things were considered reason for capital punishment. Today, we would think those as being trivial, and we hold capital punishment to a lot higher standard, I think, but it is something that's handed down to us to contain and to help contain order in this world. The Catholic Church has a viewpoint that I really, really hold dear. And it states, assuming that the guilty party's identity and responsibility have been fully determined, the traditional teaching of the Church does not exclude recourse to the death penalty. This is the only possible way of effectively defending human lives against the unjust aggressor. If, however, non-lethal means are sufficient to defend and protect people's safety from the aggressor, authority will limit itself to such means, as these are more in keeping with the concrete conditions of the common good and more in conformity with the dignity of the human person. They're not against the death penalty. If there are other things that can do the job as effective as the death penalty in protecting the innocent and protecting the good, then that's what we should do as a society. But if the death penalty is the final straw, then I think it should be an avenue that we can go down. Arguments against my viewpoint are, as I stated before, the death penalty being applied in a discriminatory manner regarding race, gender, and that some people who are wrongfully accused and are sentenced to death are actually executed. These are both good arguments, and both of them, through my research, I would have to agree with. These are things that we can improve on as a society and as a judicial system. This is one of the examples of a gentleman, Ernest Knighton. He was sentenced to death for a crime that he committed. He killed a person during a robbery. The difference between his execution and others, and why it was seen as being prejudiced, was that people, or I guess convicted people that do the same crime, were not getting the same punishment. They were not getting the death penalty. They were getting lesser charges. And he was given the death penalty, and I won't say fast-tracked, but he was executed for it. He killed somebody. The death penalty was an asset for the judicial system at that time. Was it just? I believe so. Was it fair that others were doing the same crime and not getting the same punishment? No, it was not fair. If they were doing the same crime, then they should have gotten the same punishment as he did. But there's the things, again, that our judicial system has flaws, and it can be improved upon. wrongly convicted and actually death. Our judicial system is bogged down with cases. We have an appeal system set up. And like I said, this gets improved upon all the time. Our system is improving, okay? Exonerations do happen. We've got examples of it here. Michael Anthony Green spent 27 years in prison. He was cleared on DNA evidence. You know, there are countless organizations out there that are using their resources to help exonerate these people. I think it's great. You know, and it's awful that this gentleman spent 27 years in prison. With forensics and the technology we have today, this should hopefully move to get better, where people aren't spending this long in prison and things like that. But, you know, say this guy actually did it and the DNA proved that he was guilty. You know, then it's just. You know, he went through the court. Unfortunately, 27 years ago, court systems for a young black man in a rape case, yeah, I mean, prejudiced, yes, very prejudiced. The system was flawed. It's better now, and he is proof of that it's getting better. Another example, Kerry Max Cook spent 20 years in prison, 13 of which on death row. He was released in '99 due to prosecutorial misconduct. Again, if he was guilty, then he should have gotten the punishment. It's great that our system is improving itself. Is it bad that these individuals had to spend a majority of their lives behind bars, on death row? Some even are, they go through. I mean, they're put to death, and it's awful. That's awful that it's done that way. But if the death penalty can save one innocent person, or can help the good, in just one example, then my belief is that it's worth it. Capital punishment today in our judicial system, you know, we can improve it. It needs to be improved. Just about like everything else in this world needs to be improved. We have a problem in today's society with crime. But we can't get away from the death penalty because we think that it's unfair. We can't just throw it to the wayside. I mean, it's handed down from above that this is a means of order in society. With technology and study and research and countless organizations and countless minds behind this, we can improve it. Will it ever be perfect? No. Human nature, nothing's perfect. But we can improve, and it can and does help deter crime. Again, moral obligation, biblically justified. We have to, as a society, handed from God, use capital punishment in order to protect good. Today in America, we've got a problem. Our justice system's overrun with cases. We have a moral responsibility to combat these tragedies. Crime has been around for centuries. Like I wrote here, it'll be here long after we're all gone. The final judgment for all of us is God. He has given us the direction on how we can handle society's judgment and punishment, and that includes capital punishment. Capital punishment has its flaws, and we as a society should never cease to better the process. But imposing it when all other judicial avenues have been exhausted is a must. we have to use capital punishment. God has final judgment. We have judgment here on earth. This will conclude my oral presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much.